Hey guys, Jay-Sensei here again. This is going to be what if Kamina and Simon were reborn. Now there's going to be a few little, kind of just alters to who they are as characters, and it's not going to be too important. But the story is basically going to be them and their friends, not too much of Mecha. So, yeah. Alright, the story begins with an older Simon, just dying. Now, when he wakes up in an all-white void in the same outfit he had when he had fought Anti-Spiral. This realm was just vacant. It was just an all-white space. He turned pretty confused until a hand would grab his shoulder, and he sees it's Kamina. Kamina just says, "Hey, Simon, where are we?" Simon kind of just shrugged and said, "I don't know, bro. Kind of seems strange. I don't feel any energy or even see anything." Right as he says that, though, right on cue, a blue portal opens up above them. Kind of very similar aura to Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Very similar aura to that. They're pretty confused until it reaches out, grabs them, and they're yanked into the portal. And they arrive right in the tunnel. And, well, Simon feels the tremors of the tunnel. He feels them. And he remembers it's the day his parents died. Or at least the day after. After a bit of talking, he learns it is the day after. And Kamina rises too, we grab Simon by the collar, pick him up, and just yell, saying, "We have a second chance, Simon. We have a second chance." And they just cheer. Or he does. Simon kind of feels sad. Now, let's look around Jiha Village. They realize something. They look pretty similar. They're the same height. Their hairstyle's a bit different, but almost the same color. In fact, they look not identical, but there's a lot of similarities, more than they were before. And after the talking, they actually learn they're called the Surface Twins, being that they claim they're from the surface. They both do. And they learn that they, are. Their father is a man who went to the surface years ago. And they learn that they're actual twins, and they're both around 11 years old. They don't know who's older, who's not, but Kamina claims to be the older one. And he actually is, regardless of the timeline or not. They're kind of confused, but they're just going to solve that later. Now, Simon and Kamina would briefly mourn their parents, as they learned they're their adopted parents. They were friends of their father. Well, to Simon, those are his real parents. To Kamina, he doesn't know them. Now, they actually start thinking of ways of what could have happened. And Simon thinks, "I've got Anti-Spiral, a ton of powers output in the universe, and maybe even reality. So maybe when I died, my power that was still lingering kind of just reset me and sent me here. Because I did see a lot of parallel timelines." So they chalk it up to that, is that the fact that this is an altered timeline Simon had been shot into, while his energy was outputted into reality, not just one timeline, every timeline. And this is one of them that consciousness was blasted into after the fight. So, Kamina and Simon start thinking for a bit. They decide that they should just head to the surface. So, Simon would eventually find Buddha, put him in his city, and then run over to find his drill. This cord drill. After, weeks of digging, they eventually do find it, and Simon's hands are basically bloody, broken, and raw. Same for Kamina. But they find it, Simon picks it up with his mouth, and they both kind of just weakly tap elbows, because their arms don't really work as well as they could be right now. Now, by the time Simon's hands are healed a few weeks later, Simon decides to actually keep training and go back, not keep training, but start training to learn how to, reactivate his spiral energy, or spiral power. And he actually would reawaken his infinite energy, as a lot of the output in reality was that power. His consciousness was just beamed away. He had to relearn how to use it, and he did. So now he's basically a being with infinite spiral power, but he makes it so that no one else can tell or find him. Spiral power is basically infinite possibilities of how it could work, and he's using that to its full potential. So, yeah. Now, Kamina would eventually learn how to use it as well, as he does have a lot of it. He'd probably be one of the top users of it, but I wouldn't say he's as good as Lord Genome or the endgame Team Gurren, but he's definitely getting close to there. Now, at this point, once they all learn how to use their energy, and they even find a way to actually bring back memories, they give Buta his memories back. Buta would briefly evolve, be happy to see Simon and Kamina alive, and then they dip. And it's about 7 years early. As they leave, they manage to find someone, but it did take them almost a month to do so. And they're using Lagan. After digging for about a month, they eventually find a man who's just under attack by a gunman. But the Lagan would drill through the gunman's foot as the gunman's falling over. Kamina would jump out and pry open the gunman's cockpit, and with one strong punch, he kills the beastman inside. And they look at who was attacking. Joe, Kamina's father. Now, Joe was confused until he actually realized what it was once Kamina would tackle and hug him. Sorry if you heard that was my chair. Simon didn't really know Joe, that was kind of just bowed, even though in this timeline he is Joe's son. Once at a time, Joe was confused why Simon wasn't really being all affectionate until Simon just explained who he was. And he explained everything, and even using spiral power to even prove that, this power kind of just altered reality when I died, and now my consciousness is here. Kamina, I don't know why he's here, but he is. Excuse me. Now, Simon would eventually, Joe eventually understands what Simon and Kamina are saying, and he travels with them for around a year. Now, at this point, Kamina is 12, and he still has his katana. He was in the middle of hunting when he's attacked by a beastman. It's not virile, but it reminds him of him. Kamina is pretty easily blocking the beastman's attacks, as he's much faster, stronger, skilled, all that. But eventually, the beastman is sent flying back, and it tries to catch itself on the ground. But then, as soon as it stops getting on the ground, it felt his head bump into something, a barrel, or he recognized it as one. But before he can even react, the barrel is fired, and the beastman's brain goes all over Kamina. Kamina yells, like, "What the hell, Dad?" Trying to get everything off his face. And Joe says, man up, you're almost 20. Kamina says, "But I look 12, so be nice to me." And Joe just calls him an idiot. Now, as looking around for Simon, they eventually actually hear him yelling, saying, "Hey bro, look at this!" And they see him actually weakly carrying a gunman, using spiral power to amp his strength to carry it. But he didn't want to pilot the gunman. Then he threw it over to Kamina, where Kamina would actually jump over it, wondering what someone threw at him, till he just saw a signature appearance. And he just yelled, "Gurren!" And he tackled the gunman, hugging it, even though it's not a sentient being, he just loves his gunman. He immediately climbed into it, started piloting it around, and started doing a weird dance, saying, "I have Gurren! I have Gurren!" And Simon kicked Lagan's head all the way up to the top of Gurren, and he goes inside of it and yells, "Now we have Gurren Lagan." With that, Simon kind of do a weird dance as Gurren Lagan, and Joe just watches, kind of laughing. As they travel as Gurren Lagan, Joe kind of just sits on the shoulder, or just sits in Lagan's mouth. So kind of a weird area, but he doesn't want to sit on a 12-year-old's lap. He just does something that's right. Also, they're not going to let him pilot Gurren or Lagan or Gurren Lagan. They refuse to. Because, they miss their bots. Now, Shimon and Kamina get back in the swing of things using Gurren and Lagan, and the combination Gurren Lagan. They learn every single technique they could learn with Gurren Lagan, as in the base state of it. And they continue traveling. Joining his own gunman, they call Tenjo Kiba. As he calls this gunman the one that'll slash through the heavens, that'll slash the gods. Simon and Kamina try not to laugh, as Kamina remembers how he used to say that Simon will drill through the heavens. Joe comes at them saying, Wait, laughing, who the hell do you think I am? And Kamina and Simon kind of just nudge each other saying, I guess this is just this phrase for everyone who's inducted in Team Gurren. And they agree on that. Now, Tenjo Kiba was a smaller gunman, like Gurren. It's not as small as Lagan, but still similar size to Daigunzen, so like Gurren. Now, instead of having arms, it actually has blades. If you guys want to have a comparison, I compare it to you know how Shiki in One Piece has swords for legs? Gurren has swords for arms, much like that. Or not Gurren. Tenjo Kiba has blades for arms, much like Shiki has swords for legs. So yeah. And plus, actually, you can send out flying air slashes. So, yeah. Then go on 3 years later. Kamina and Simon are about 15, and Joe is around 37. Kamina's running around with his sword drawn, cutting down random beastmen as he had attacked a lot of them. Well, attacked one, then it led on to a chain fight. And he started going hand-to-hand combat as they're all outside their gunmen, and he's pretty easily slaughtering every single beastman that comes up in his path. While Joe's literally just sitting in Tenjo Kiba, stomping on any beastman who gets near him. We just see Simon with a giant club, battering beastmen over the head as they keep attacking him. But he's mainly focused on knocking them out and not killing them, as he does actually like beastmen. Kamina is not really accustomed to the future. Buta occasionally just evolves and bonks one over the head at full force, flying far away. But only if it gets too close to him. But eventually, Kamina runs up a gunman, as a gunman has actually been piloted. It tries to attack Kamina. He jumps over onto his arm, runs up its arm, charges up his sword with spiral power, and cuts the gunman clean in half. But then, through the smoke, he actually would hear clapping. He's confused. He looks around. It's not Simon or Kamina. It's not Simon or Joe. Joe wouldn't clap, and Simon could have done the same thing, and a lot easier, so he wouldn't clap either. He swings his cape off, as he does have Joe's cape, and he sees in the distance black hoods. He recognizes them immediately as the Black Siblings, Kiton, Kyo, Kial, and Kinon. Kamina and Simon actually make their way over to them. The sisters still love Kamina. While Kiton is amazed that Kamina cut down a gunman only using a basic katana. Like he cut a gunman clean in half with his sword. After they're talking, the Black Siblings agreed to travel with them. Kiton more reluctantly, and the sisters gladly. They also find Joe pretty hot. Now, Simon found a way using infinite potential spiral power to give them their memories of the original timeline, or to have them view it. Pause. And he was able to do it with Buta, because Buta is a creature with a lot of spiral power. He just didn't learn how to utilize it till later on. So it was pretty easy with Buta. The Black Siblings have no knowledge of it. So he actually is able to learn how to give them their memories, or how to help them view the original timeline. And with Kamina and Buta's help, they eventually are able to find a way to give them their memories back, by kind of shooting them, or projecting them into their prior bodies of the timeline. Or pulling their prior timeline bodies into this. Kinon, Kial, and, hold up, fuck, I make sure you get their names right. Kinon, Kial, and Kyo all get their memories back. But Kiton, he died against Anti-Spiral. The three siblings, the three sisters, they lived until the epilogue. Well, so did Simon. So, yeah. So Kiton's mind is a bit behind. Well, the sisters are happy he's alive, and they say that they missed him. Kamina says, wait, what? He died? And his mom says, yeah, I died. He became you. It was amazing. Trust me. Kind of badass. And he kind of just fist bumps Kiton. And he says, damn right it was. By the way, where's Yoko? I figured you guys got her first. And Simon just says, oh no, we didn't. We kind of just killed every gunman in the area and left. We're going to let them do that thing on their own. And says, fair enough. How did you know we were here? And he says, oh, we didn't. We're kind of just wandering the world now. Kind of just having fun. And Kiton says, fair enough. He fist bumps Kamina, and they eventually would just continue on their way. And they actually do find King Kiton relatively quickly. Sorry about that. But they eventually do find King Kiton relatively quickly. And Kiton using spiral power would actually be able to enhance it by just upgrading it. Also, Simon actually knowing how to actually upgrade. He's not as good as like Liron or Late, but he can actually just work on them as well. So, spiral power plus being able to work on gunmen, he remakes Space King Kiton. A lot of it was just being able to alter realities with a lot of spiral power. But Simon is just very smart in general. He's basically the mind of like an 80-year-old man in a 15-year-old body. Now, Simon, Kamina, Joe, and Black Siblings eventually all have their gunmen upgraded. As for the sisters, they actually find the 16 gunmen, like the one that they found when they had their first official, like, hey, we're friends now. They find that, and that's the ones the sisters use. And when they're not using it, they kind of fuse it into Lagan, and he controls it while they kind of sit around and just chat. And during that same year, they make their way to Adai Village. In Adai Village, Shima just drilled into it using Lagan. Or 16-faced Lagan. And they're basically just that all 4 limbs plus the head are drills. So he drilled through everything, they got down, and it kind of scared Gimme, Dari, Rasyun, Magin, the chief. Now, as everyone was a bit confused, Kamina actually had in this meantime actually gotten memories not from Simon or anyone else or himself, but from Gurren. So he learned to do that. So now he knows everything that Gurren went through. So Kamina now has a whole memory thing down for himself, and he just points his sword right at Rossi, saying, "Hey brat, long time no see." Pause. Now, when he says, "Hey brat, long time no see," Rossi is immediately just very confused. And so Kamina would just kind of just slash with the sword, creating a blue rip in the air. And then an aura would envelop Gimme, Dari, Magai, and Rossi, or Magi, not Magai. So, with the aura envelops them, they're a bit confused, until Magi kind of just laughs, saying, "I haven't been here in so long." Rossi says, "I can say the same thing." Gimme and Dari just say, "Wow, we're small," and kind of just laugh. She looks around and realizing they're having a ceremony to make people leave, and right now it's his mom's turn to leave. Magi immediately just grabs Rossi's mother, pulls her back to the crowd, and says, "You stay here for a bit. We're going to talk to our visitors." This has surprised everyone, and they did end up talking to, Simon, Kamina, Joe, Black siblings. As they talk, Simon suggests that they use, 16-face Lagan to dig. And Kamina just says that him and Joe can kind of just punch through everything or slash through everything to dig, so they can do that. And King Kiton now using a lance and just says he can blast everything, or he can just create a drill. So he's going to go through and he's going to do that. So Simon and the Black Sibling, or Simon and the Black Sisters, plus King Kiton, and then we have Simon or Kamina and Joe. They'll be in drilling, while then Rossiu actually decides to pilot a whole other mech, the mech in Odd-Eye Village. And Magin just says, goes to waste. So, with that, Rossi would get in that, and he's loading it with his own spiral powers. He knows how to use it pretty well. He actually would create a drill on the other end and punch through everything, drilling through Odd-Eye Village. And after a few days, this Odd-Eye Village was greatly expanded. It was massive. It went from being able to hold 50 people, up to an estimate of around 3,500 to maybe even 4,000. So it grew over 7 times. So with this, the villagers are greatly happy, and even Buta has an idea, as Buta would end up multiplying himself in his evolved form. In his evolved form, his copies are now just miniature moles, but they're a lot bigger. They're the size of dogs. And Buta in his evolved form says, this is your food source. They can also keep digging, and they're pretty loyal, so if you want to keep pets, do so. He smiled, went back into a small form, and crawled right into Simon's jacket. As Simon kind of looks how he does as a kid, but he's 15. So, yeah. So, I'll start picking my chair still. Once everyone had renovated, once the village was renovated, the chief had basically burned the holy book. And when the villagers are asking why, Magin says, "Honestly, I can read. It's not any language." And he just threw it away into, just a fire. And he just says it was a cruel joke that he didn't realize until recently once he fully understood how to read. Which is a lie, but he kind of knew better than to just say, "I'm a future man." So, yeah. Now, Rossi would end up talking to his mother. They talk for a while, and she just tells him to do great things as he says he's going to leave. So he cries, hugs his mother, and he heads to the Odd-Eye Village gunman named Seishin. Pause. So he hops into it, and Kino would immediately rush out of the 16-face gunman, hop in the cockpit, hop on Rossi's lap, and kiss him, happy that her husband is back. They leave Kimi and Dari sit in the gun with Shimo, or Simon, since, they're pretty small until they hear that they're allowed to pilot the 16-face gunman. There's a lot of space for it. So they pilot that as well, and then they end up leaving. Once they leave, Simon has an idea. He ends up flaring his spiral power. And while they do that, Gurren Lagann is formed. Kino and Rossi have been helping him as they flare their energy, and their minds kind of fuse. All their gunmen are flaring their energy to create something. kind of a giant orb, kind of like a barrier is put up with spiral energy. Rossi knew what Simon was planning. Kamina didn't, but he went along with it. The orb being compressed down in front of them until it creates a man. A man who resembles Lord Genome. But this is not Lord Genome, it's the biocomputer Genome. But he's given a body. Pause. So with this, he's given a body, and back computer Lord Genome, well, last time he kind of remembers anything is from the anti-spiral war. He does good to see them, and, well, Simon kind of walks over, throwing him his coat, as he uses it to tie around his waist so that his engineered manhood is not on display. As they eventually talk, he would use his own spiral power to actually be able to, well, he's not really a biocomputer anymore, but he has the memories of one. So as a living being now, he's actually able to use spiral power, and he ends up recreating his prime appearance. Long hair, beard, what else? I remember some of it. Long hair, beard, cloak, bandage wrappings, all that. Yeah. He looks like that. And he just says, my parallel self is not going to enjoy having two versions of himself wandering around anymore. And biocomputer Lord Genome will actually be able to give himself knowledge of, well, the entire prior timeline. So he basically has more knowledge than even Anti-Spiral did of that timeline. Now he's a mind who even rivals Anti-Spiral. Once everyone was ready, Genome, he had dropped the Lord. He hopped into the newly upgraded Central Kiba, as Joe had upgraded to fit more than one person, because they keep adding new people, and it's kind of hard to fit everyone everywhere. As 16 face Lagan doesn't really fit 16 people, it kind of fits more around 5. And the Black siblings kind of jump back and forth between piloting that or hanging out with each other. But eventually travel to a valley to where Nia is. If Human finds the container she was in, instead of even using his key, he literally just tears the container open and frees Nia. He immediately uses our power as she wakes up, and she begins feeling memories flood into her, as he perfected the memory technique. She feels her memory flooding in, and she feels her body growing in size. Now it matches her adult form, and when she sees Simon, she just hugs and kisses him, happy that her lover is back. She has the memories up to her death, and she's just happy that she no longer has the anti-spiral, well, messenger traits within her anymore. Simon makes sure to remove everything that wasn't Nia. Well, she eventually gets up, tells Simon that she's happy to see him, and she sees who's Lord Genome, or Genome as he corrects her. As they talk, Genome actually says he wants a chance to be a proper, well, person, a proper father to Nia, as he has the memories of the entire Lord Genome from the prior timeline. And Nia just says she'd like that, and they end up kind of just hugging. Now 2 years pass. Pause. Everyone from the original timeline is altered, this in the group at least. To look as old as they were in the anti-spiral war. Well, Kamina kind of looks like he does when he's 18, and Joe just keeps himself looking how he does in his youth. And Genome can just keep himself in shape. He doesn't really age anymore. Simon has an idea that nobody likes, but they understand it. Simon's been thinking on this for a while, but he decides humanity needs to stay underground. Rossi immediately just objects to this, but Simon just says, they got too unappreciated very quickly. They assumed that life on the surface was a privilege, not a right. We need to make them thrive underground and then rise to the surface. And they need to know they can evolve on their own without people like us doing it for them. They can find the surface all on their own. Rossi hated that, but he knew it would work. He knew it would create a utopia that he tried to create the first time with Simon. And Kamina is just backing up whatever his brother says. As for attire, Simon would wear a black hood and cloak with a handheld drill spear on his back. His drill key was a spear, but he used spiral power to change its size, so now he doesn't really ever need to, well, wear it on his neck. It's always kind of slung around his shoulder. Nia wears an outfit very similar to a messenger outfit, but she turned it into a long dress instead. And it's not just a long dress and then no shoes or anything. She just wears a long dress and she can just pretty easily climb on someone's back if she just doesn't want to walk through rocks or things like that. And the red patterns on it are now blue. While Genome, he just wears a long black cape and acts like father to Nia. So, Kamina and Joe look the same as they do in canon, but they now have their own capes. So, yeah. Kamina's is more regal as it was in canon, and then Joe's is more rugged and kind of just flamey looking. Black siblings look how they do in canon, pre-civilization, but they don't have the hoods or anything anymore. Rasu, Gimme, and Dari wear their usual Dai Village clothing, but a lot bigger. Now, eventually they entered the Jia Village in the 2 years, and they had basically expanded it. They basically did a lot of mining with Gurren Lagann, but also just in their base states. And after a few days of drilling and lots of just directional coordinating, they actually connected to Adai Village, creating tunnels to go back and forth. Within the 2 years, Jia had also connected to Littner Village and saved them from Thin Elf's attacks. So Jia is now connected to Adai and Littner. Now, once they'd saved them from Thin Elf's attacks, they basically it kind of led to, the way they saved it was basically Simon still in his base state, would just start up one giant drill just thrust, and it blew apart the entire army, seeing them scattering across the air, pushing them all away. Once everyone had met up, once everyone had found basically one Littner village and met the ones who saved them, Yoko's the first one to speak up, kind of confused on who saved her or saved her village in general. Kamina would step up and she wanted to ask his name. But instead of just even saying his name, he just kisses her. Yoko blushes trying to push him off, only for her to get memories of her prior timeline. And then she immediately would pull away from Kamina and uppercut him across the face, and he was flying into a wall, calling him a pervert, but saying she missed him. And she just punches Keaton in the arm, saying she missed him too. Don't die again. And he says, he'll try. Only for sisters to jump up, put him in chokehold, and call him a jerk, saying, no, you're not going to try, you're not going to die. You're going to try, you're going to do, you will not die. And as he's being choked out in a three-way kind of chokehold, he just says, all right, fine, I won't die. Now immediately, the people in the village are being confused, until we see characters like Leron and Dayaka get their memories back from Simon. Now with that, and the memories back, Dayaka immediately just cried in Kyo, as later on just kind of started flirting with Simon, saying, it's good to see you again, and you look really nice. He goes and touches Simon's chest, and Neo to punch him right in the ribs, telling him back off. She still has an innocent smile on her face, but she did punch him on square in the ribs. And the next year, Adai Village, Littner Village, and Jihai Village all form into one village, and they should be beginning to form a civilization on their own successfully. But they do want to move up. Simon just claims it's not a habitable place to live yet. Trust me, and they do. The large village that's newly formed underground is called Giadiner Village. Or Giadiner Village. So, Jiha, Adine, Littner. Yeah. It's thriving, and it's still very primitive, but they're forced to evolve on their own with minimal help from Team Daiguren. So they're evolving properly, but this goes going well. And the team currently consists of Simon, Kamina, and Buddha are kind of the leaders. Or Buddha, but yeah. Buddha's kind of just a leader because he hangs out in Simon's jacket. Rasu and Genome are the vice captains. Kiton and Kinon. Kinon is the sister with the glasses, the one who likes Rasu. In fact, he's married to him right now. Plus Kiel. Kiel's one with the thing. Those are kind of average members. And then Genome, Nia, and now young Coco. Those are kind of just the ones who actually handled the chores. And then the average members consists of Joe and Tendo Kiwa, his boy gunman. Daka and Kyo the blonde of the black siblings. Especially Kiton. They're married again already. Leader on still mechanic. Zorthy is still himself, but he's happy he's alive, as are Kid in Iraq. And then Jorgen and Balabo, happy to be alive again. Layton Makin, married immediately. Art and Burrow, happy to be around again. And Gabal, happy to just be piloting more and more gunmen. So, Team Daiguren is reformed at their full power. Now we head on to when Simon and Kamina would be 18. At this point, everyone in Team Daiguren had evolved their bodies to look how it did in their prime states. And Kamina just ages naturally, just because he didn't really have a prime. Pause. Okay. Now, beginning of it begins, and everyone has their own gunman, modified to the greatest power output and skill level. Now, they still fight the gunmen that they did in episode 1, but Hendrik Kibo is just literally just nearby and fired kind of shot a sword through the gunman's head, and that ends the fight. Didn't even really create much chaos. Everyone kind of sitting around lunging their gunmen eating lunch. Like, Kamina is eating a giant, chicken thing off of his sword, saying, I forgot how weak the thing was. He seems really scary the first time he saw it. And Yoko just says, yeah, tell me about it. A few years later, they do find the two frog-looking gunmen. But Genome pretended to be Lord Genome and just made them leave. And they believe he's Lord Genome because he looks like Lord Genome. So, yeah, but he's just Genome. He is Lord of None to him. To himself, he is Lord of None, so he's just Genome. Now, one day while Kamina is hunting, he still finds Viral. So Kamina with Gurren and Gurren Lagann's memories, he said that Viral was a former pilot of Gurren Lagann, and he is a friend. He changed. Kamina knows Viral changed, and he's happy that, he did change. But he wants to fight him for old time's sake. Clear versus Katana. Now, Kamina is pretty easily manhandling him, defending, blocking, deflecting, all that. Viral stands no chance against Kamina. In fact, just gets no diffed. But when Kamina landed with a punch to the face, he would force in all of Viral's memories that were within Gurren Lagann. Immediately, Viral would pull away Kami's fist, saying, "Long time no see, dead man." Kamina just laughs, and then he's punched right in the face, being sent flying through the air by Viral, who's far more skilled than Kamina is at this point, just because Viral is a very old man. Viral never died. He is immortal. They pulled him from his most recent memory of the prior timeline. That's what they're doing. They're pulling from the most recent memory of their person timeline. So Viral, at this point, is probably within the thousands. So Viral's his skill is basically unbeatable, even within gunmen. So he pretty easily defeats Kamina, saying where his mind was pulled from, he has Kamina's katana. He uses it mainly because the area was terraformed by an accident, and now the sword was almost lost. And he says he has the cape too, and he also has Keaton stuff. In fact, he has everyone's stuff except for Nia's, because she's still kind of just gone. So yeah, but everyone kind of learns that Viral is kind of just the one who has all their keepsakes, and they don't really mind it. They're kind of okay with it. But eventually, Genome and Viral just end up talking, and Genome is able to actually help Viral attain his immortal body using star power, as Viral doesn't really have it anymore. Not anymore, but doesn't have it in this body. But once his memory began flooding back, slowly but surely, he will slowly remember how he attained it, and then Genome has a different idea. His different idea is with him and Simon, they begin basically pumping this power into Viral, and begin altering his body, making him more of just a feline man. Not an engineered one, no, he's just a feline man. Gonna change his entire biology, but he looks the same. And he also did alter his own appearance to make himself look the same. But yeah, he looks the same, his genetics are just changed though. And with that, he is soon able to harness spiral energy because he is now a natural occurring creature. Pause. Alright, sorry about that. But Viral is eventually able to harness spiral power as his biology being altered. But he doesn't mind it too much. He's immortal, and he has his memories. He's pretty happy. Now, once everyone is ready, Viral kind of makes his way through his entire group of just like just the squadron he was with, and beats them all senseless in his base state before hopping into his gunmen and Enkidu. Then he evolves it into Enkidu. So yeah. So with that, he eventually would have would decide to make him. He said he's going to go meet with Lord Genome, but Nia and Genome insist on going with him. So they end up going. Genome kind of hops on one of the swords, on Viro's Enkidu, and then Nia just hops on Genome's shoulders. Now back in Teplin City, Nia kind of just jumping around like just barefoot, kicking away, like just kicking like gunmen in midair, which is pretty easy. Kind of just an elegant dance of just defeating gunmen with raw might. And then we end up seeing Lord Genome doing the same thing. And their base states punching through gunmen like they're nothing. And from in his hand to pierce through one, turning it to nothingness. Enkidu is forcefully evolved into Enki Ryu. And it now uses 6 swords. But they're greenish red. The blade is red, or the blade is green, and then the sword, the sharpened side of it, is red. Like that, he's able to cut through anything by using flaming and red blasts. And with this, he's basically just decimating everyone, including the 4 Supreme Generals. They didn't stand a chance against him. One sword alone decimated their entire group in one slash. By the time he cleared out the 4 generals and their groups, he made his way into the throne room, where Lord Genome was waiting, as was Nia. But Genome had appeared from the ground, piloting Lizengon. Which actually surprised Lord Genome. He was unaware that anyone could pilot it, until he sees it's himself piloting it. But, scruff figure. Most of Genome had acknowledged them as, this is everyone. Like, yeah, there's all of us, the ones who came here. He just asked, who are you? And he ends up pointing to, Genome. Genome says, I'm you. Well, mostly you. I was a supercomputer derived from your brain in a parallel timeline. Our leaders, Simon and Kamina, were born in that timeline. Or Simon was. We don't know how Kamina got here. They found the rest of our team and used Simon's mastered infinite reserve power to bring me over and give us memories back. And give me memories and knowledge of my prior self as Lord Genome, a supercomputer, but also the memories of Anti-Spiral, the memories of the universe. I use all that and this to try and alter the course of this reality from ours to make it safer, but also be the father our daughter needs. Genome's taking all this information, kind of just almost scoffing at it. This doesn't sound like him, but at the same time, it does. He just says, interesting. That world, it seems perfect in the end. You all did well. As he even would spread his power, and sync his with Lord Genome's, viewing memories. He says, it's perfect in the end. You all did well. Lord Genome. But then Genome kept saying, just Genome. I'm Lord of none. Genome smirked, saying, well, just Genome. Let's combine our energies and fuse. We need this knowledge and our truly balanced skills power to turn beasts into beings with spiral power. With that mind of yours, you did it with Viral and that boy, Simon. With me, you can do the entire species. You can create entire beings who can master spiral power and be stronger than humans. And was nodded, holding his hand out, as then Genome and Lord Genome dap up, then basically fusing with their energies. Genome's hair gets shorter to match the baldness of Lord Genome, but his beard gets longer. He doesn't mind it too much. So it's hand out, firing off basically giant, just a concussive blast of spiral power that encases the entire Earth, turning every beastman across it into naturally occurring creatures. Their appearance doesn't change, but what they predominantly look like is what they are. If someone looks like a gorilla, but they're like, a gorilla-shark hybrid, they'll still have the same appearance of a gorilla-shark hybrid, but they'll be purely a gorilla, in terms of just DNA. But they'll be very smart and intelligent still. So by the end of it, every beast was turned into a naturally occurring creature. Their DNA was altered to be able to harness spiral power. Now, all the beastmen fled into Teplin City, and then into the throne room, bowing to Lord Genome. When Genome would just shoo them away, saying, no, this is your new king. And he shoves Viral forward, saying, first beastman to master spiral power. Viral. He is the king of beastmen. All beastmen howl, chirp, grunt, roar, as just a symbol of, we accept you as our ruler. Viral raises his fist and roars to them, and Genome would leave. In the meantime, with Lizen gone, while Viral would actually be infusing Enkiru with Tepelin. And it allows him to pilot the city. Well, Genome just takes Lizen gone, so kind of all he needs. Now this basically ends the war with the Beastmen permanently within about 3 to 4 episodes if we were to put it into an anime. So if we put it in an anime, 3 to 4 episodes end the Beastmen war arc. So yeah. Pause. Alright. Now we fast forward 7 years later. Beetle is the head of the Beastmen. He lives in Tepelin City, and to help Beastmen learn to master spell power as he did, like on his level at least, he has them basically channel it as the power and like the electricity of Tepelin City. So they use spell power to harness Tepelin City's everything, and they basically have a passive outburst of it at all times. Kamina City is not formed, but is in fact G.I. Diner, or G, a Diner City. And every underground city that was formed is now on the surface. Every underground city eventually had linked up. After about 3 years, they'd all become one city, then they rise to the surface, and then G Diner City is formed. So with this, everyone had evolved on their own, and they're living now with proper society and less greed. It's now a proper utopia, according to Rossio at least. Zemo is still the leader of it, but instead of calling himself Supreme Commander, he calls himself the Prime Minister of it. Double City and G-Diner City have various bullet chains connecting to each other, as well as tunnels. So they're kind of just cities that have basement and human inhabitants alike. Tepelin City, though, is in the air, and then G-Diner's on the ground. And with gunmen, they actually hold tournaments as like sports tournaments. They have like football games, American football games, with like gunmen. Or then they have, just basic, international football where you kick it around, but they use that with people who have mastered spiral power, and they use ball of spiral energy to keep it going. We can have all about controlling spiral power to move for the ball of spiral energy. So they have games like that going around with human and beast competitors alike. With no really physical advantage, it's all about control and skill at all times. Now, the most famous gunmen are Lizengon, now Terra Lizengon. It has fused with the moon much earlier. Or it fused with the moon, so the moon's already controlled much earlier. Enkidu is now Enkidan. Seishin is now Arc Seishin, as the Arc was formed much earlier and fused with Arc Seishin. Or fused with Seishin become Arc Seishin. And then, in the main pilot of it is Rossio, or, it's Rossio, or, Kinon. So yeah. Nintendo keep us the same. Keaton he still calls it King Keaton, but the overall name for it is just too big. It's called Universal King Keaton, or Great Universal King Keaton. And it's just really big. It's probably about as big as like Jupiter, if you want to give an estimate for that. But it's usually not. It's very, very well hidden with spiral power to not look as big as it is. It's very well hidden and shrunken down. It takes a lot of technology to do so. And it's not even fused, it's literally just a massive thing. And that is just because of Keaton's obnoxious amount of spiral power that he uses to make himself look really cool. Then we have Gurren the Gon, that is now Ultra Tengen Toppa Gurren the Gon. And that thing sits in the middle of reality. Like, it sits behind the sun, because it's too big to shrink down. So, yeah. They hide it very well. But at certain angles with sunlight, you can briefly see a giant blue thing. So, yeah. Now, pause real quick. When Nia is supposed to turn into a messenger, she doesn't. and it causes way more spiral ships to arrive, about 5. But Simon and Kamina would immediately make their way over to their giant gunmen, and then separate it into Gurren and Lagan. I was wondering how. Teleporting is a pretty easy thing for them to achieve with spiral power. They use it for basically everything. So teleporting into it, then they eventually would hop out, and then as Gurren and Lagan, they pierce through ships. Simon drills clean through one of the ships and sends it crashing down. Then Nia leaps up, grabbing both halves of the ship, slamming him into another ship. So that's already 2 ships, and there's one that's falling down from Nia slashing it or hitting it with 2 pieces of another ship. Simon would just drill that other piece in half, ending it now. So he wins pretty easily with that. And then we would have Gurren, who punches one ship into the air. Then Yoko would fire various shots at it, basically bursting into pieces. But as his pieces are falling, Joe jumps in with Tendo Kiba, cutting it to basically nothingness. And he just holds a thumbs up saying, "Good job, kids." Yoko and Kamina yells, "I'm 32." And Yoko just yells, saying, I'm older than you. Kamina had just aged himself up. So, yeah. So, quick pause. Kamina had aged himself up to look his age, but also, he started the series in an 11-year-old body, but for this one, he started the series as an 18-year-old and 11-year-old's body. And then 7 years pass when he's 18 or when he's in an 18-year-old's body. But then that's been 7 years again, so yeah, he's 32 in appearance and in actual age now. Yoko is just genuinely older than Joe is in terms of actual age. She looks appropriate for her age of, like, I would say, about like 25, maybe. So, yeah. And after the next spiral ship, Biro will just unleash 10 swords for his Enki Dan, as it has 10 arms and 10 swords. And he combines the swords, the tips of the swords, until just one blast. Well, the tips of the swords touch, one giant red blast is created, and it fires one straight beam, hitting one ship, and immediately just reducing it to ash, and it dyes the sky pink, or a reddish pink color. Well, then Keaton would hop into a shrunken down mech, or gunman, and immediately would fire one blast from a lance, and that would destroy the last ship, helping dye the sky's color. Nobody is arrested, but they are very, very worried about, like, more attacks. But the various beastmen and human pilots for gunmen would immediately agree to step up to fight, and Genome is willing to come back to fight as he lives on the moon with Adine or Adine, what do you want to call her? I'll just find the proper pronunciation. Adine or Adine or Adine. But yeah, he lives with her on the moon. So yeah, he comes down saying he's willing to help fight too. So with this, we're going to go over just the families of everyone in the series. Yoko and Kamina, they live with Joe, and they have 2 daughters, Yomako and Reika. Yomako is the oldest, being around almost 8. So basically, I would say, to make that make sense, around the time of Yoko last showing up, she had already been pregnant with Kamina's child. So it happened almost immediately. So once Yoko got her memories back, and not long after that, she got knocked out by Kamina. And then Reika is one of the most recent time skip child, and then Joe is just a bachelor. So yeah. Pause real quick. Okay, so Joe's just a bachelor, but he does have a little on and off thing with the black siblings, which pretty sure the one I'm thinking of is Kyo. Or I think it's Kyo, actually. Yeah, Kyo. So yeah, he's a little on and off thing with her. There's one, oh, she's too young. No, she is not. She's old. She's older than he is. So yeah. So yeah, so he is on the thing with Kyo. Simon and Nia have a son named Sota. And then Genome and Adine actually have a daughter named Mizuhime. But Nia just calls her Hime. And then the other kids that you guys can imagine happen in canon already happen here. Just probably earlier or just on time. So with this, everyone gets their gunmen ready for the war with Anti-Spiral. And yeah. I'm going over the abilities of all the gunmen that are currently going to be piloted. We have Ultra Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, piloted by Kamina, Simon, and Buta. Yoko actually has her own compartment in it that she fires cannons from. So yeah, as I said before, this thing is basically bigger than cannon, like a lot bigger, like a lot bigger. Like he probably dwarfs Anti-Spiral by a long shot, even more so than cannon. The power of it is simply put, the power is it still drills, but the drills just say, hey, eat shit reality. The drills negate reality. So, yeah. For Terra Lizengan, piloted by Genome and Adine, it's basically the same as canonical Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, the one step before Super Tengen Toppa. They're basically that, but one step behind. But they have hydrokinesis as well, being able to create basically entire planets of oceans in one go. Then we have Enkidan, which is Virals, and it's just simply put swords and beams. Because they're wondering, how is Temple City still staying in the sky? The entire city is fueled by spiral power. Viral, has a lot of it. The entire city can use it. So, even if he's not there piloting it, it can still be kept afloat. They just have to keep themselves moving. That's all it does. You keep yourself fueling it in energy, and it stays in the sky. Easy as pie. Then you have Great Universe King Keaton. It's the third biggest gunman, but the fourth strongest. Pause. So, but I'm going in order of strongest to weakest. So Great Universal King Keaton is piloted by Keaton and Keo. And what it does is basically a shield and lance with infinite beams and infinite energy. It's basically just infinite energy, and it's basically an infinite sword or shield and spear argument. It's kind of what it is. The lance can fire infinite beams, or can just pierce through things with really no effort. And then the shield can deflect or block anything. Then we have Arc Seishin. Seishin plus the original Arc. And it's basically a holy shield with deflection abilities. It doesn't fight, all it does is just deflect attacks. And it's really good at that. It can basically deflect anything aside from, Ultra Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. That's kind of its limit of deflecting attacks is from the thing that says fuck reality. Then we have Tendo Kiba, piloted by Joe. And what it does is just have forever slashes. Meaning that you can slash one time and then create an infinite effect of more slashes. Or can just continuously attack you with no slowdown. So, yeah. So with that, Joe basically just has infinite cuts of infinite sizes. So if he wants to, he can only cut you one time and then create 4.8 trillion paper cuts on you. Easy as pie. Gimme and Dari still have Great Pearl. And then we have a new ship, Tengen Argonon, piloted by the remaining members of Team Daiguren. Being hold up. Team Daiguren. Basically, the ones who aren't piloting or mechs are basically the ones who are on the ship are Liron, Dayaka, Ketsukan, Old Coco, Kyo, Zorthi, Iraq, Kid, Drogon, and Balambo, Bakusa, Maken, Aramburo, Gabal, Late, Nia, Cybella, and that's about it, I think. Yeah, that's it. And what the ship does is it's the maximum evolved Daigunzen fused with everyone else's gunmen. What it does is basically just laser cannons that they call celestial cannons. It can basically terraform planets to recreate them or destroy them completely. And it can also provide the crew aboard it with eternal sustenance. So, yes, basically meant to support humanity is what the ship is. So, yeah, it does that really well. Now, pause. Soon, when Team Naguri teleported in with anti-spirals, they were all ready. Simon just laughed as he and Kamina easily deflect blasts from the anti-spiral warships, as they're just big as shit. So they just making away blasts, and nothing, crushing ships in their bare hands, or their ship hands, like it's nothing. And it says, if you fought one anti-spiral army, you fought them all. They can be as smart as they want to, but if I've seen them before, I can beat them as many times as I need to. Genome Anadine, user dual piloting of Terra Lezengon, and fire a massive spiral drill blast made of water through the entire army, but not doing much damage, up until the split apart water droplets being recreating their own drill blasts. Let's say they create 1 million droplets. Every droplet creates its own drill blast of the same size, and it keeps going until they either run out of energy or just make it stop. And in unison, they say, continuous giga drill blasts. And the ships are being pushed aside and pushed into each other, getting just clashes and crushes. They're just hitting each other constantly. The ships are hitting each other. The anti-spiral ones are. They kept moving through ships until Tengen and Arjanon creates one giant blast from the cannons, and as Spiral started to evade the blast, as it would basically mow them down. Immediately, we end up seeing our station appear behind or in front of the blast, and then creates a two-way shield. And they yell, "Divine Departing Fire." The blast splits apart in two different ways, piercing through a lot of the ships, taking out around half of them in that one blast. Moving from above, the great universal King Keaton will charge up a blast in his lance, while then Rossiu is ready to deflect it. Until we end up seeing Enki Dan put the tips of their 10 swords right to the blast, making its size double, and then compress into one little orb. And immediately Rossiu dips immediately. The blast is let out, and that blast actually turns the majority of the anti-spiral army to ash. Now, nobody dies in this war. There's simply too much firepower on the end of Team Naguri. While someone like Kamina, who's constantly shouting words of affirmation and hope, is encouraging them to boost their spiral power beyond belief. Like, they're always not having infinite reserves, but it's always constantly refilling to the point where it may as well seem infinite. And he just yells, saying, "Even if you don't think you can win, believe in the me who believes in our victory." And that is enough to fuel everyone's willpower to continue fighting to their full ability. You end up seeing Ultra Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann form at its full power, and it clears through every anti-spiral ship that's remaining, with just one single wave of his hand that basically just creates a rift in reality that sucks them all into nothingness. And eventually, the anti-spiral would arrive, and locks eyes with Ultra Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. And they each put up their fists ready to fight. And anti-spiral just says, "This seems like it's going to be fun." But then, from below, its knee is hit by Great Universal King Keaton. But then as it begins to kind of just hop on one foot, gets grounding back, it's surrounded by every gunman. Ultra Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, Enkidan, Great Universal King Keaton, Terra Lezengon, Arc-Sation, Tenjo-Kiba, Great Pearl, and the Tengen Arjanon all surround anti-spiral. Now, he does try to create one more portal, but then they all use their own energy to create their own portal. And as they all fly through the portal, he's met by every human and beastman gunman from Earth. We end up hearing Viral and Simon yell, as the leaders of each civilization, "Hey, you're face the full power of spiral beings." All the gunmen surge spiral power, and they all create drills to charge anti-spiral. You don't try to negate or shove their attack out of the way, but Ultra Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann had other plans. The drill pierced through everything, every shield, every attack. It pierced through reality itself. And if it was an episode, it would have pierced clearly to the screen. It pierced straight into the chest of anti-spiral, holding him in place. The drill pierced the fabric of space, time, even the concept of existence, and embedded itself in anti-spiral, and leaving him no way to avoid it. But then 10 drills from Enkidan, a water drill from Terra Zengon. A large universal drill is shoved in by Kitan. A large white shining drill from Tenjo Kiba. One final attack from everyone dubbed the Drill of Existence, the Drill of Spirals. All hits into the spiral at full to the face, and it turns the universe entirely blank. And the spiral looks around, realizing he's in a smaller form, thinking that they may have just erased reality and he survived by accident. But he looks around thinking he's fine. He ends up standing to his feet, but then he sees the entirety of Team Daiguren, not in a gunman, but ready to throw hands. And he got on his feet, but when he stood up tall, he feels one punch to the jaw, then one punch to the temple. He'll tank it and sees Gimme and Dari. He's ready to hit them both. But then, as soon as he raises his fist, his hand is shot clean off by Yoko. She waves and says, I'm not much of a fighter, but if you fight back, I'm just gonna shoot you. And she keeps smiling and waving at him like, yeah, you fuck right back, you're gonna die. And from behind, he's kicked back by Joe, and he hit the ground. And from above, Genome will land a flying knee drop right on Spiral's back. Then Adina would smack him into the ground harder with her tail and flick him in the air where Neo had arrived, and delivered a right hook to his face, spiraling into the ground full force. But as he bounced off the ground, from below, Genome would land an uppercut right in his stomach, yelling, "It's for killing me!" Then we end up singing more numbers like Kid in Iraq, saying, "Me too, and me, same here, you bastard." And he's being dogged by everyone. When he's done, he's just barely able to stand. Now he eventually into a collapse, and he tries to crawl to his feet. When he's been met by Leron, who just smiles. He tries to hit Leron, only for Leron to create a drill in his hand and pierce through both of Spiral's arms, severing them both permanently. He yelled in pain and tried to run away. But then he's grabbed by his head by Joe, and then he slammed on his head full force from another direction. But then, as he's bouncing on the ground, he's then kicked full force at Viral, and Viral would just clothesline him as he flips through the air. And while he's still flipping through the air from the clothesline, he's met with a dual elbow drop from Rossiu and Simon. And then the Spiral is Nubs begging to live. He's terrified. He's being jumped by humans. Well, and one cat thing. But yeah, he tries to crawl away. Only for Kabuta and his all form to run and punt him into the air at full force. As Spiral's in the air falling, he's wondering if he's going to die. Then sees Kamina walking just up slowly. But it's not slowly, it's just really fast. He just perceives it as really slow. Kamina says, I relish in the fear of you dying at the hands of humanity. But honestly, your screams would sour my victory. But I have kids to get back to now. So it's time to go, you bastard. The underworld is waiting. He ends up to the air at full speed and beheads Anti-Spiral, his body being reduced to nothing. With that, Anti-Spiral's head is taken off his shoulders, and he turns to nothingness as everyone reappears back on Earth. Kamina and Yoko are hugged by their daughters, Simon and Nia by Sota, and this eventually would end the story of what if Simon and Kamina were reborn. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. Adios.